June 1912, a quiet Iowa town, 8 lives, no mercy, and more than a century later, no answers. This is not just another true crime story. This is America's most haunting unsolved murder, the Villisca axe murders. The Moore family was well known and respected. Josiah Moore, his wife Sarah, and their 4 children, Haman, Catherine, Boyd, and Paul, lived in a modest white house near the town center. That Sunday, the family attended church, where Catherine participated in a children's program. 2 friends of the children, Lena and Ina Selinger, were invited to stay overnight at the Moore's home. It was meant to be a night of fun and friendship, but by morning, the house would become a crime scene that still chills investigators today. Sometime after midnight, while Villisca slept, a killer entered the Moore's home, carrying a heavy axe. They moved silently room to room. Josiah Moore was struck first, his skull crushed by the blunt side of the axe. Sarah was next, then one by one the 4 children. The brutality didn't stop there. Lena and Ina Steringer, asleep in the guest room, were also killed. 8 lives ended in sheer savagery. The crime scene revealed disturbing details. The killer had covered mirrors and windows with cloth, as if to hide from judgment. Josiah's face was so badly struck it was unrecognizable. One child showed signs of defensive wound, suggesting they woke up in their final moments. By morning, neighbors grew concerned when the Moore family didn't appear for daily chores. A family friend entered the home and stumbled into the horror. The murder shook the town, but worse than brutality itself was the fact that more than a century later, the killer's identity remains a secret. The murders rattled not just Villisca, but the entire Midwest. This was 1912. Small towns prided themselves on trust, open doors, and neighbors looking out for one another. Suddenly, no one felt safe. Authorities swarmed the Moore home, but in a tragic misstep, the crime scene was contaminated almost immediately. Curious townsfolk wandered through the house, peeking into bedrooms, touching objects, even taking souvenirs. By the time investigators arrived, valuable evidence was gone forever. Still, certain details stood out. The killer likely hid inside the house before striking, waiting for the family to fall asleep. A slab of bacon was left on the floor beside the axe. Bizarre and never fully explained. Every mirror and reflective surface was covered, as if the murderer couldn't stand to see their own reflection. Theories began to swell. We had the Reverend George Kelly, who was a traveling preacher with a strange reputation. He had attended the church service the night of the murder and reportedly left town in the early morning hours. Later, he confessed to the crime, but his story changed repeatedly and his confession was ruled unreliable. The second suspect was Frank Jones, Josiah Moore's former employer. Rumors suggest bitter resentment between the 2 men and whispers of financial rivalry, or even an affair fueled suspicions. But evidence was thin and no charges ever stuck. The third suspect was a serial killer. Some investigators believe the Villisca murders were part of a wider pattern. Similar axe killings occurred in neighboring states around the same time. Could a drifter hopping train have left a trail of blood across the Midwest? Despite years of questioning, trials, and speculation, no one was ever convicted. The Moore home remained a crime scene without justice, but what made these tragedies endure was not just a mystery of who, but why. The brutality suggested rage, but the strange staging of the scene suggested ritual of madness. Each theory only deepened the mystery, and Villisca's name became synonymous with unsolved horror. In the days after the murder, Villisca changed forever. Before, it was a kind of town where doors were left unlocked and neighbors dropped by unannounced. After June 1912, locks became a necessity. Trust eroded, and whispers of suspicion divided family and friends. The mock funeral drew thousands. Coffin lined up in a single row, a heartbreaking reminder that an entire family and two innocent guests were gone in one night. The case haunted law enforcement. Investigators chased leads for years, but each one ended in frustration. The trials against Reverend Kelly fizzled, and the Jones family maintained their innocence. As time passed, the trail grew cold, and the murder slipped from headline into legend. Yet, the house itself refused to fade into obscurity. The Moore home still stands, preserved almost exactly as it was in 1912. For decades, family lived in it, but many reported strange experiences, footsteps, voices, objects moving on their own. Eventually, it was restored as a historic site opened for tours. Paranormal investigators claim the house is one of the most haunted in America. Visitors describe icy chill, sudden feeling of dread, and even hearing the laughter or screams of children. TV shows like Ghost Adventures and Scariest Place on Earth brought Villisca dark past to new audience, cementing its reputation as not only a crime scene, but also a supernatural hotspot. For some, the house is a memorial, a place to remember the life lost. For others, it's proof that trauma leaves an imprint, that the violence of that night never truly left. But whether you believe in ghosts or not, the Villisca axe murders remains unsolved, and with each passing year, the truth drifts further away, buried under speculation, theories, and time. It's been over a century since that June night in Villisca. 8 lives ended in a way so brutal, so senseless, that it continues to echo through time. The killer's identity is still unknown, the motive still debated, and the mystery as chilling now as it was in 1912. The Villisca axe murders reminds us that evil doesn't always strike in distant places. It can appear in the heart of a small quiet town, behind the white picket fences and Sunday church bells. Darkness can hide, waiting. The story also asks us a haunting question. What lingers after such violence? Is it memory, trauma, or something more? For the families of the victims, for the townsfolk, and for everyone who walked the halls of that house since, the Villisca axe murders are not just history. They are a wound, a riddle, a shadow cast over an entire century. And perhaps the most terrifying part is we may never know the truth. But what do you think? Was it a jealous rival, a traveling preacher, or a serial killer who vanished into the night? Drop your theory in the comments below. And if this story shook you, share it with a friend who loves true crime mystery. For more chilling unsolved cases, subscribe to Red Case, because every mystery deserves to be told.